Hey! It's a Goodness Friday! What's up, beautiful people? This is Goodness from the Goddess Radio. And I'm your resident host, the Goddess Builder, KenyaPope.com. And today's message from Goodness from the Goddess is activating your faith for profits. How to incorporate prayer and profitability in your business. So, I am the Goddess Builder, Kenya Pope. I'm the founder and CEO of Goodness from the Goddess Spiritual Lifestyle Training and Development, especially for women business leaders who have a heart, who are determined to make a difference while they earn a commission. And we train virtually as well as in person in order for women just like you to break their internal slave context, to really bust through inner glass ceilings that have them locked in this reality that says, as a spiritual offering, as a giver of spirit, whether you're a healer, a coach, an author, a speaker, a mentor, or a minister, you have an idea that offering that sort of gift will afford you zero in your bank account. We've inherited some slavery concepts, and also we've inherited this struggling artist myth. And so for most of us, our work is an art. And so we equate the struggle financially with what we're doing. And so I'm really blessed to be able to help, especially women and some of the rising gods who support this divine feminine work and goddesshood, to create that balance and be a stand for universal abundance in a holistic approach in their lives. So I want to talk with you today about how to bring profitability into your business with prayer. It's so super important and sometimes counterintuitive. Of course, I am a business trainer. And so a lot of times people are expecting me to deliver old world business training. And I call it old world business training for this particular reason. The world that we are living in now, currently, has been established off of some principles that were put in the past, right? And those principles allowed human beings to be sold as a commodity for commerce, for a trade, for economic advancement. It also allowed for sweatshops to be introduced throughout the world and forced child labor, as well as human trafficking. And all of these were the workarounds, so to speak, or the shortcuts or the get-rich-quick schemes that were used that really dishonored the humanity of the workforce as the owner was building this huge empire. And so we're watching all of this crumble. We're watching Social Security crumble. We're watching the stock market go up and down. We're watching the American dollar go down. We're watching even the value of real estate. We're watching a lot of things that people depended on really tank a little bit. And so it's inviting all of us to the stage to present our ingenuity, because I believe in really troubled times, our creativity shines bright. It comes through. And so just so that you know, you're very special if you're an entrepreneur on the line with a soul, with a heart, with compassion, because you are the trailblazers for what I call new world business. Maybe you need to write that down. I am a new world business leader. I am a trailblazer. And that can be your affirmation for the day and the rest of the week. It's important because we're here not because we don't have skill, because we have many, many genius. We have most of us on the line are multiply creative. But we're here to make a difference. If you're here, you're part of my tribe. We go all the way back because we have a soul. We have a heart, we have compassion, and we're connected to the visions of the lives of the people that we influence. So for us, it is counterproductive. It's almost blasphemy for us to consider slave labor or sweatshops or human trafficking, because it's so anti the culture that we want to create in our businesses. So this is the reason why my trainings have come to be so valuable in this marketplace, in the shifting, because I present a soul business training, which is based on this particular principle. It's based on you. It's based on you wanting to build big business while making a difference and not having to clean it up afterwards with all the people that you stepped on your way up. So we build holistically. We build a solid foundation based on good character and great relationships, and abundance rains down on our heads. And that brings me into today's topic. I want you to make sure you have something to record, because everyone gets nuggets from these brief mindset moments from the goddess. Today's moment is all about how do you bring profitability in your business with prayer. We've been trained to believe that prayer is for Sundays or Fridays or Saturdays, and business is for business. And we have an internal schism. We're not getting along. These two halves of us, right? I hear a lot of people, and check in with yourself to see which one of you is this. I hear a lot of people saying, well, I only do this on the side, but my real job is. Notice if that's you. Or I hear a lot of people say, I'm not doing this for the money. The money doesn't have to come, right? So most of you on the line are either A or B or some combination of both. So what happens is you want to think about it this way. Your life has more than one quadrant. We'll go into that. And the quadrants really speak to every corner of us in a holistic way, right? So we have an income quadrant. We actually do. We have a part of us that generates income so that we can live a particular lifestyle. And there's a biblical reference to the word talent, and the word talent is actually a currency biblically for some of you who need that biblical reference. There's another quadrant that speaks about our relationships with other people. That's the people that we kick it with, our loved ones, family and friends. Also, it speaks about our supervisor relationships or our worker relation, people who work for us or are contracted to work under us or with us on a team, our neighbors, the dry cleaner, all of the people that we relate with throughout the day, the guy who cut you off on the highway or the guy you cut off on the highway. All of those things are your relationships. How are you relating with others? And then the third quadrant speaks about your relationship with yourself. And I know that we don't just live in the physical body. We have more than one body. And so that means also taking care of your mental health and your emotional health. And the fourth quadrant is really your connection with the highest supreme God. And for everyone, that looks different, So this is not about religion. But let's take the case that there are two quadrants that we're going to focus on today, which is our money quadrant and our spirit quadrant, right? When you add those two together, you have half of your life. Now imagine the ones of us that say, I don't do this for the money. I just do it from my heart, right? I just do it because my spirit is calling me to do it. You actually have a vacancy in the money quadrant. You have a void. And so what happens with a void? I tell people all the time, you want to think of this whole circle of your life as a stool. And everybody probably has a reference of sitting on a stool, and the stool has 4 legs, right? So what happens if you're trying to sit on a stool and there's a leg that's just gone? Your body now has to wiggle and jiggle. And listen, my body does enough wiggling and jiggling on its own to try to stabilize myself. Your body is going to try to make adjustments because there's a void. So what happens is it's pulling the power from the other three legs, or some combination of the three. So when you're not sowing seeds in your income quadrant, it's going to affect your relationship with others. It's going to affect your relationship with yourself, and it's going to affect your spirituality. What happens is now, because the money is not coming in the way you want to, and your self-esteem is a little bit skewed, when you go to deal with other people, you come across as insecure, or you come across as paranoid, or you come across as less than your bright, beautiful self. When you're interacting with your family members, you might feel upset with them because they aren't doing things to help you make the money that you know. And then when you're looking at yourself, the way that you're taking care of yourself, your regular doctor's, dentist appointments, your regular self-care, whether it's traveling for some people or eating very well or going to the gym, those things are not being tended to, because that energy has to pull to fill the void. Does that make sense? Right. And so for some of you, it might even be your prayer life changes, your meditation changes. Like, I don't have time for that. I'm not about to buy no Bible. I'm not about to buy no Quran. I'm not buying no oils, no incense, no sage. I'm not doing none of that because my money's not coming in. So subconsciously, under the surface, your other quadrants are compensating for the void that you're allowing to evolve in your financial arena. It does have an impact. So if you're the other person who says that, for you, your thing is not so much that you're not just doing it for the money, but your thing is that your money and your spirit are separate, right? When I go to church, I go to church. When I go to the mosque, I go to the mosque. When I'm doing my meditation, manifestation work, I'm doing that. When I'm doing my business, it's different. So what happens for you, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, if that happens for you, what's going on in your particular case is that you're sort of living in two separate worlds. So one leg is in China and the other leg is in Australia. And it becomes very, very difficult. You ever remember these sock races in middle school? It becomes very, very difficult. Somebody say difficult. It becomes very, very difficult for you to move forward when your legs are split into two different realms. Because you've compartmentalized yourself and saying, oh, when I go to work, my real job, I make money. But when I do what I love, I'm only doing that on the side, right? And so you create a split. It's called cognitive dissonance, where you're living literally as two different people. And it's not cool, because over time it wears on the mind to constantly take off a hat and put on a new hat and remember which hat it is. And, oh, I'm going in here, I need to be this part of myself. And when I go over here, I need to be that part of myself. It's really a lot of work mentally. And when you're overworked mentally, it's very easy, very, very easy for you to be unfocused and lose clarity when you're working on your gifts. I tell people all the time that your gifts are not just a creative option. Your gifts are an anointing over your life. Yes? So when you have an anointing over your life, you have ache over your being. You have this special superpowers that have been delivered to you from the Most High. You have a responsibility to those. You have a responsibility to invest in them. You have a responsibility to nurture them and to allow them to grow. And so when you're spending time putting them on the side, you are actually dismissing the gifts that you were blessed with. And that puts you in a position when the next time you want to make a declaration, the next time you want to make a prayer request, the next time